NoStressMike.com, talking about Cuba. This is part 3. And we'd get a guide, normally a woman, and if we'd offered to give them a ride, and they don't really, sometimes they don't go from town to town. And the reason is, what they had to do is, before they leave the town, they have to check in. There's, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a police department, but it was a place you check in, and they would have to go in and get their little passport stamp saying the time, where they're going, who they're going to see, and then we would, and how they're going to get there. And so we'd give them a ride and to the next town, and that's where their aunt is or something like that. And when they come into that town, they got to go check into that town. It takes 45 minutes to get to that town. If it took an hour and a half, they want to know why it took so long. So, you know, it was really weird. Like I say, I didn't have to go through this. My companion didn't have to, because we had that VIP kind of thing. So we didn't have to do that. And see, I forgot about all that when I went to China. See, that was my problem I had in China. I didn't check into the police department. Every town I go to, I'm supposed to check into the police department, and I didn't do that. That was a problem for me. One thing I don't. First, I'm lost. I don't know what town I'm in. And the second thing, try to find the police department in the place. I don't know about that. And then I am not going to tell them who I'm there to see. You know, and I don't know how long I'm going to be there. And I don't know, a lot of stuff I don't know. Like I say, I'm lost running around. And so that's why I didn't bother to even check in and stuff. That's why I got in trouble. And so anyway, that's talking about the woman. I guess we can't get past this. Prostitution is a big thing in Cuba. It was funny because they said that everybody would. It was a saying in the country. Castro, let's see, I don't know if he taxes everything or he's a partner in every business. Every business, half of the money goes to the Castro, and you got to keep the other half. All your expenses and everything comes out of your half. So, but the thing is, they would say Castro's partner in all businesses except for one, sex. So the prostitution business was a big business, and while we're talking about that, there's no religion. There was in Cuba. I mean China, but I didn't find any religion at all in Cuba. So there was no marriage. They had, remember, doctoring was the big thing. Abortions was a big thing. So and nobody wanted kids. So why do you want kids? You know, you just want to have sex, and you know they were just like what was it, like monkeys? I guess they just sex for pleasure. You know, I mean, it was really, they really hurt in the way of morals. I think that's why the Cubans that left Cuba, that's one of their gripes, and I know that they makes them feel bad, because the Cubans that I know outside of Cuba, they got high morals. They're good, very good people. They're really different in Cuba. Now this is the year 2000. I'm sure things have changed by then. This is about 17 years later. So, but anyway, so that's all. In other words, finding a woman to get in a car with you and show you around is very, very easy. And if you know anything about the Cuban women, they are pretty and they are sexy, because, like I say, the sex is the big thing there. So, I mean, they dress really sexy. I mean, all women do. It's a little hot in the daytime, come evening, man, they are fine looking. But anyway, so we would get these women to guide us from one village to the next village, because they didn't have signs on the road, and so, you know, we'd be lost if we didn't have somebody guiding us. So we did all that, and let me think. Restaurants, no restaurants, same thing. We have to find out who in town has got food. And so you go there, and they don't give you a menu. They tell you the kind of food. Most of the time, the big eats was beans and rice And since we're tourists and we have money, sometimes they'll throw in some chicken. Chicken was probably about the main meat. Chicken, beans, and rice was the main menu going around there. So now, when you stay in the tourist places, now they got all the food. Now, I mean, that's a different story. They know, they keep take care of the tourists. Now, on our way back, we're going along one side of Cuba. I'm sorry, I can't tell you what side it was. But anyway, they've got a stretch of island. It's an island, a long, skinny island. And it's got nothing but hotels on it. There's two bridges. One bridge on one end, one bridge on the other end. And we got on one end, we drove clear down to the other end and went back on the mainland. But there were nothing but hotels. Mostly Italian. They were mostly Italian hotels. Don't forget, America, it's an embargo, so there's no American hotels there. So there was a lot of Italian places. Now, where'd the people come from? On yachts. All these yachts were parked there, and that's where the people came. They would come on yachts to come to these hotels. And let's see, we didn't spend the night in one of those hotels. No, we didn't. We got back on the mainland and went to somebody's house again. Went through the whole routine, all the paperwork, and having them come in our room in the middle of the night and this type of stuff. And so anyway, talking about that, they had police. Now the police were kind of like China. They just wore fatigues. Now in Cuba it was green fatigues. In China they were wearing black. No weapons, no nothing, because all they do is rat on people. They just want to see your information and stuff like that. So they don't need guns. They don't need that stuff. They've already disarmed everybody. Oh yeah, talking about that. When I was talking to the Chinaman, I said, man, the people, they're so mellow, or I wish I knew the right word, but man, they were easy going. And what it is, all the spirited people were arrested, and what they do is when they arrest you, I don't even know if they had a prison or not. They probably did, but I'm not aware of one. But I do know they send you to the sugarcane fields. And when you go to the sugarcane fields, you don't come back. So I don't know what that means, but you don't come back. And so at that time, they had 40 years of people that didn't like the system would go to the sugarcane fields, and they didn't come back to contaminate the minds of everybody else. So everybody that was still there were really kind of docile. Yeah, that's what it is. Kind of like our cattle. No troublemakers at all. Everybody calm and easy. But everybody rats on each other. Because when you rat on somebody, remember the coupon book like that? Then it gets a little bigger when you rat on somebody. So that's how they enforce their laws, is people ratting on each other. They didn't use 911. I don't know what they did, and I see now, tell you the Americans, they rat on each other for free. Well, we're just learning. There's still a little bit of prosperity here, so people still got a little bit. So you get hungry, well then you'll start ratting so you can get a little extra food. I've seen that everywhere. And but anyway, let's see, where was I? We're ratting on people. We went to the island with all the hotels, and then we're working our way back to Havana, because there wasn't nothing really fun to do. Oh, we did we're on the road, and there was a table, and a girl was there selling cheese, and she had her own cow goat, I think it was. But anyway, she had her own cheese. And so she was selling the cheese. And then the guy I was with says, well, hey, come on. I don't know what he talked to her about. But anyway, one way or another, we got to her house, went to her home. And her home was her mother and father, and that's all I can remember there at the home. And so we were there at the home, and was a mud hut with dirt floor. and no furniture, no nothing. And she asked if we want something to drink. And I said, yeah, I'll take something. And what she does, she goes over and gets this big old long bamboo pole and goes over the coconut tree and knocks the coconut out of the tree. And then comes over with her machete and chops the top of the coconut off. And so we just drank out of the coconut, passed the coconut around. So, but anyway, that's what that was. That was kind of an experience. Normally when I go to places like that, a lot of times I eat with the people. When I'm traveling by myself, I don't, because I'm scared I'm going to get sick. When I'm with somebody, especially can talk to them and they know something about food, like this guy was a diabetic, so I wouldn't, if he wanted to eat there, I would do it. But they didn't have any food. These people were starving. Nobody was overweight there. And so we didn't try to get food from anybody. So anyway, we went back to Havana. And then when we were there, we found somebody else. And no. That was when we first got there. We found some guy, and somewhere he wouldn't talk to us. Remember, we said he didn't speak English, but my friend was talking to him, and he wanted us to go inside. And so then, and the reason we went inside, I didn't know it at the time, but because people will see him talking to us. So we went inside, went to his house, and it was really weird. I want to talk about his house. He had an apartment, and let me put that in the next video. This is Mike, NoStressMike.com.